This is WCAU TV-10 Philadelphia. It's 6 o'clock.
Out in the Berkshires as well, and most of our suburbs are way.
This is the TV-10 News with Terry Reynolds and the TV-10 News team.
Good evening tonight.
Good evening tonight. Big story on the TV-10 News. The 6 p.m. award of this.
Along the coast down to
Saturday, November 4th, 1978 is with voter interest banded in the polls showing the Pennsylvania gubernatorial candidates running neck and neck for the chairman in both Bucks and Montgomery County predict a higher than an average voter turnout on Tuesday.
However, I'll be back in
The vote in the Bucks and other Philadelphia suburban counties is considered critical in the gubernatorial contest between Republican Richard L. Thornburg, 45, and Democrat Peter F. Flaherty, 58. Recent polls showed
Live in the newsroom right now.
that Thornburg is overcoming his opponent's initial lead and even surpassing him in this area. I think there is going to be a remarkably and reasonably good turnout, Montgomery County Republican Chairman Robert Asher said Friday. The turnaround in the Thornburg-Flaherty race is going to help the anti-Republican ticket. On the other side, Milton Burks is the Democratic leader in the Bucks County. Continually predicts a Flaherty victory. I think that it will be a 6% turnout, and he said, I look for a Flaherty to win in Bucks County. Thornburg, a former U.S. attorney from Pittsburgh, is gaining steadily on his opponent, a 70-year mayor of Pittsburgh, but Flaherty has a lead in voter registration statewide as well as high recognition as a tax cutter working for him. The lieutenant governor candidate, Republican William Scranton III, 30th son of the former governor, and Democrat Robert P. Casey, 48, political unknown from Pittsburgh, who won the primary.
Would not comment on the
When his name was confused with a popular former state auditor general. And about much vote in their interest has centered in the congressional race between incumbent Democrat Peter H. Kosmeyer, 81 Salisbury, and Republican G. Roger Bowers, 49 of Bensalem. Kosmeyer won the 8th district seat in 1966. His 31-year-old has given a heavy advantage over Bowers, the Bucks County Commissioner, whose race has been plagued by financial problems. In the 10th state Senate race, which includes all Bucks County of Central and Upper Warminster, Warwick, and Ivyland, two-term incumbent Airedale Howard, 51, is pitted against County Treasurer James F. Blake, 49 in Pendle. The Doylestown poor senator has made a reputation for himself as an anti-corruption advocate reform in the state legislature, but Blake has doggedly campaigned against Howard to be claiming he is unresponsible to his constituents. The 12th state Senate seat is vacated by the death of Wilmot E. Fleming in May and sought by the Republicans Stuart J. Greenleaf, 38, state representative from Willow Grove, and Bernard C. Brahman, 58, a Jamestown attorney. Greenleaf is given an advantage.
Rexford, New York.
It is a heavily Republican district which includes the eastern Montgomery County and Warminster.
Police search for her.
Perhaps the closest race in the area is one between Democrat Margaret H. George and Republican Robert E. Ferguson for the 148th Assembly seat. Mrs. George, 49, Doylestown Burr beat Ferguson 2 years ago in an upset victory, making her the first Democrat to hold the central seat in history, but this time Ferguson has more experience as well as the support of the State Teachers Union. Mrs. George's campaign in honor conservative voter record, which he says established her as an independent free of a party domination in 144th Assembly District. Incumbent Benjamin H. Wilson, 53, is showing him his 4th term in the legislature. The Republican from North Britain Township is opposed by that. There wasn't a vacancy at the Bucks County Republican dinner in Trevor Friday night. In years past, party fundraisers have had to scramble to unlead the $50 tickets to the annual event in the Northeast Tilton. But this year, the tickets were all bought and the banquet all filled. Among Republicans' enthusiasm for Richard L. Thornburg's gubernatorial campaign is running out. They know that it's his best shot at winning the governor's mansion in sometime. Then they know that if they lose their chance, another good opportunity will come for several years. Thornburg was the guest speaker at the dinner, confidently predicted a victory on Tuesday. The former Pittsburgh prosecutor, who started the campaign as an unknown underdog, has been buried by recent Gallup polls, which show him where to land down opponent Peter F. Flaherty's lead to a 4 percentage points, with his biggest gains coming in the field of suburbs like the Bucks County. But for probably the first time in this long campaign, we are winning and we continue working hard. We'll win on Tuesday. The 45-year-old lawyer said the underdogs have gone to the polls, becoming the even dogs. Citing the Gallup poll, Thornburg went on to claim even greater gains than the pollsters have given him since that poll. We had a televised debate. I think we won. It besides the cheering crowd on the board for 700 people. He pointed out the promises support from a number of labor unions, including the Philadelphia Trade Council and the city's local and the American Federation of State and Company and Municipal Employees, as well endorsements from the major daily newspapers across the state. Thornburg's speech was a study in the contrast with the one delivered by Friday when he appeared at the Bucks County Democratic dinner at the same banquet hall last night. While Friday gave the speech, stressing on his own personal achievements and qualification with a little of the political banner. Philadelphia Democratic group told candidate Peter Flaherty, defending his record as mayor of Pittsburgh from his attacks of his opponent as founder and new ally as former foe. Flaherty played his trump card at a street rally in his hometown Friday, gaining a plug from his successor, Mayor Richard Calgary, to challenge Flaherty to a primary battle 4 years ago.
In East Boston and Revere will decide.
A record number of Pennsylvanians have requested to vote in Tuesday's election, and majority of the Democrats.
The racetrack is still.
That case of the 3 former Upper Moreland policemen against the top township officials responsible for the fires of the 9th State are scheduled to go on trial in November. 30th U.S. Court in Philadelphia. The 3 policemen, George J. Denvery, J. Barry Masuda, and Robert Lee Quinn, filed a $375,000 suit in July 1967, claiming their civil rights were violated when they were fired in April 1967 after reported an alleged rape of a superior officer to the Township's Board of Commissioners. Named as defendants are Commissioners Charles N. Acker, James L. Barker, Guy Cooper, Walmsley Savett, and Benjamin Johnson, as well as former Commissioners Johnny Howland and Robert C. Roof, who lost their bids for re-election last year. Also listed defendants are Police Chief Eduardo Stutch Jr., Deputy Police Chief Joseph F. McCabe, and Township Manager Brian L. Mook. The trial settled between U.S. District Court Judge Charles Clancy, newcomer, in July upheld the policemen's claim that they had been denied equal protection under the law. In January, newcomer denied the township's motion that federal court has no jurisdiction over the township and ruled that police officials that do not have to appeal officers do not have to appeal their fines before state courts before making a plea to the federal court. In their suit, the policemen said they met with the commissioners on March 14th after advising them accurate the township police commissioner possible criminal conduct by a high-ranking member of the police department. They said.
And tonight, neighbors told.
Along with 10 other officers signed a petition presented to the board claiming a cover-up of criminal misconduct. Their suit also asked a reinstatement to the force with tenure and retroactive seniority pay and payment of attorney's fees. They also asked for the township of investigation and public report on the incidents of criminal misconduct, malfeasance, and office and mismanagement, which exists in the Upper Moreland Township Police Department.
No word on any injuries.
Washington, the governments of Egypt and Israel examined drafts of peace treaty that they would be 30 years of the hostilities between the two countries, and in negotiations, Washington are working on the final details of the Israeli withdrawal from the Sinai. Egypt said to inform Minister Boutros Ghali and Ambassador Osama Baz, a key negotiator, flew to Cairo Friday for what it was described as a few days of consultation with President Anwar Sadat and his ministers about remaining issues of substance and regulations. Tabak sources, however, said that the departure indicates that the Blair House Conference is entering in its final stages and negotiators may be ready to initial proposed draft treaty round in the middle of the next week. One of Israel's chief negotiators, Defense Minister Ed Wiseman, flew home to Jerusalem Thursday night to make a progress report to his cabinet. Wiseman and the Egyptians are due to return separately to Washington Monday. Egypt's chief peace negotiator, Defense Minister Kamal Hassan Ali, and Israel Foreign Minister Moshe Dayan remain in Washington to continue working on the treaty package. Philadelphia, a jury celebrates for a second day today for the fate of traffic court President Judge Louis Vignola, who is accused of attempting to cash about $32,000 in money and gifts from 4 rich servicers to keep business. The jury received the case about 4 p.m. on Friday after the events, presented a host of character witnesses. The panel deliberated for 3 hours and then recessed for the night. Among the witnesses testified on behalf of Vignola, who did not take the stand, for school board president W. Thomas. The witness evaluated Vignola's reputation for honesty and integrity as excellent. Richard A. Sprague, former special prosecutor and former first assistant district attorney, said Vignola's reputation. Alphonse Dale, who heads the Northeast branch of the NAACP, said Vignola's characters of the Haggis order and excellent and is known as a fair and has impeccable reputation. Defense attorney Thomas Bergstrom on Thursday succeeded in getting income tax evasion charges against Vignola separating from the rest of the trial. Chief Judge Joseph S. Lord III said he would make later on whether the government improperly obtained Vignola's tax records and whether the case could try separately on these charges. Lord also instructed the jury to describe some of this testimony by a court with server standard on computer company and part of a testimony by another rich server. Those instructions of widows by $5,800 on Matt Fignol is accused of receiving bribes. Philadelphia government suit filed in federal court Friday charges 5 drugstore affiliates of J.C. Penney with failing to keep accurate records of drugs distributed them between 75 and 1977. The 5 drugstores named in the suit operated under the name Thrift Drug Company in Langhorne, Shocking King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, and Philadelphia. The suit charges that some of the stores failed to keep the records of certain drug purchases and that some of the stores failed to properly identify the supplier. In one case, the Langhorne store failed to account for $187,000 missing tablets of the depressant phenobarbital, according to the suit.
I never in my life thought that I would be.
Moscow, the Soviet Union charged today that the conviction of 2 Soviet citizens for spying in the United States was a premeditated provocation and called on Washington to close the case to let the betrayer return home in a protest delivered in Washington to the Soviet embassy. In report by the TASS news agency, the Soviet Union said that the case had been fabricated and cannot be assessed any other way but a deliberate step with a purpose of damaging relations between the Soviet Union and the United States. Valdek Endrich, 39, Rudolf Cheminov, 43, and employees in the United Nations were sentenced last month in New Jersey to 50 years in prison for the conviction of 1 espionage count and 10-year concurrent terms on 2 conspiracy counts. The 2 were convicted of trying to buy classified defense information from an undercover agent they met several times on the New Jersey highway. A task force of Argentine warships ready today fought at South Atlantic, where a Chilean flotilla was already guarded in 3 strategic islands of whose own ship. Both countries claimed that territorial was in stirred total war between the 2 South American neighbors that began worse late last week after 6 months intensive but fruitless negotiations finally broke down. The official Argentine news agency tells us Friday in Argentine talks. Force had to see a report that coincided with increasing speculation in British newspapers of war with Chile, and Chilean naval force has been moving in the South Atlantic to protect Chilean interests in the dispute over ownership of 3 barren islands that dominate the Beagle Channel, the strategic shipping route around the tip of South America. The reported naval movements came shortly after Argentina indirectly rejected a Chilean proposal for a third-party mediation in a century-old dispute. New York. Lingering labor problems forced the New York Times and Daily News to abandon plans to publish their Fat Sunday editions, but the 2 morning dailies hope to hit the newsstands on Monday. When not publishing Sunday, we're still hoping for Monday. The Times Metropolitan editor Sidney Schomburg said Friday. Jonathan Thompson, a spokesman for Daily News, the nation's largest circulation daily, said it to have canceled publications to publish on Sunday for plans. The 2 papers
quirky commercials and the way they advertise and all that.
Hope to resume publication Sunday after reaching a tentative agreement on Wednesday with a striking pressmen's union, which shut down the papers on August 9th by walking off the job in a dispute over manpower levels. Pressmen's unions on President William Kennedy's scheduled a ratification vote for 8 p.m. on Sunday. The Times and the News held marathon negotiating sessions with 6 other unions, second contracts, and reached agreements with 2 of them in hopes of publishing Sunday. In another development, the New York Post accused the Daily News of conspiring with the powerful drivers' union to give the news a covered advantage against the Daily Sun, which publisher Rupert Murdoch plans to start. Washington, the exchange between a Firestone dealer and a customer wanted to trade to recall tires in Minneapolis is typical. The customer complains about a 2-month wait on the dealer replies, "We're doing the best we can." Unassociated Press spot check Friday. Firestone deals found consumers in many parts of the nation having to make appointments often months in advance to exchange Firestone 500 steel belted radio towers, which its company would call after the government questions their safety. Some consumers complained they're having trouble getting deals to agree to change it all. In Harrisburg, the Horse Racing Commission reacted to pressure from legislature has discovered a new limited ban on the use of controversial drug, but as sold in non-race horses. Effective training for the drug, commonly known as bute, will not be permitted in any horse within 24 hours of the race. Only a limited number of drugs, including steroids, hormones, and medicines, and controlled breeding, will be permitted in a horse during the race. Currently, there are no restrictions on bute use for reducing inflammation. Humanitarian groups contend that the drug can mask their own illegal drugs. Handling the horse breakdowns, Howard said that the commission acted ahead of the legislation on bute. I'm disappointed that they did not make the 40 hours. Many racing experts agreed that 24 hours is meaningless, he said. Senator Edward Howard and Republican Buckshot asked that the humanitarian groups on the issue urged the commission.
Just isn't sure exactly what that'll be, but it certainly won't be like that.
Philadelphia in bold red stencil letters, locations throughout the city where rapes have occurred have been rendered with the words, "A woman was raped here." Operators don't know the intended of the members, but a group have known as Save Our Sisters has been accredited with a littering campaign. Brent Lakey, director of Women Organized Against Rape, and said, well, her organization has no part in the campaign and only learned of it throughout the news release. She thinks it is a good idea. I think it's a own good thing, she said Friday. women are acting on their own behalf. But from the news release, it seems that there are no women who had some experience with rape. She said, however, that the reaction of the signs showed people don't want to face up to the issue of rape. Okay, now the weather now. Here now, Peter Wiggins. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ruggles. Right now, our current conditions at 6 o'clock reports in
that we face as a city.
Philadelphia Airport. We got a temperature of 54 degrees of foggy skies with a winds northeast about 8 miles per hour, 2.52 degrees, and a humidity 93%. Barometer pressure 30 and winds of visibly of 4 miles. Okay, let's take a look at our 6 p.m. reports around the region. It's 54 out in Northeast, 54 in Trenton, 53 in Wilmington, 55 in Newark, 55 out in LaGuardia, New York City, 55 in JFK in New York City, 53 in LaGuardia, 54 in Jackson, 54 in Atlantic City, 54 down in Wildwood, 53 out in Millville, 52 in Allentown and Bethlehem, 52 in Reading, 58 in Harrisburg, 54 out in Lancaster, 53 out in Dover, 55 in Baltimore, 58 in Washington, and 58 in Annapolis. There. Okay, let's take a look at our little
I actually shaved most of my head today, so
map situation around the country shows fair skies in much of the northeast, stretching in eastern Great Lakes and much of the eastern seaboard,
I do because
with a cool front stretching from Oklahoma and Arkansas. And despite the cool front, it was 80 degrees as now in Dallas and 81 in New Orleans. There, it was much as a fair skies and much of the northwest, stretching over much of the west coast. There, a couple of minor showers in southern Texas and stretching western Texas and southeastern New Mexico. Here, and it was a mild day, about 49 in Boston and 53 in New York City, 57 out in Chicago, 63 in Minneapolis, same one in Atlanta, 36 in Miami, 72 in LA, 65 in San Francisco, and 51 in Seattle. Okay, let's take a look at our forecast, and it'll be going like this. For the Delaware Valley, we'll go like this. For Park Clyde tonight, lows in the upper 30 to low 40s. Most of the Sunday and Sunday has lows in the mid 60s, precipitated possibly about 30% tonight, and 10% on Sunday. Winds northeast about north to 5 to 7 miles per hour tonight for extended forecast. Fair Monday and Tuesday, Park Clyde skies Wednesday with a chance of some rain and south. Full day today, temperature changing when highs in the 50s and lows in the 30s and low 40s. For Pocono region, most of sunny and pleasant Sunday, highs in mid 30s and low 40s first night, lows mid 30s and low 40s, and probably rain 10% tonight Sunday. Winds light variable for tonight.
that will do two things. It will allow some.
And that is gonna be it for the weather with high pressure centered in Georgia and low pressure centered in eastern California and
So that's the story. It's
off the Virginia coastline. I'm Peter with Cynthia. Have a good evening. I'll see you at 11 here now.
you see that in Chicago.
Is Jim Kelly with the sports. Take it away, Mr. Kelly. Okay, thank you, Mr. Wiggins. Right now,
Few more low
sophomore tailback Chrissy
southeastern Mass.
ran for a pair of touchdowns and set up another with a 19-yard pass reception as Princeton scored its first Ivy League victory of the season, blanking the Penn Quakers 21-0. Chrissy scored runs of 27 yards in the first quarter and 19 in the second on the way to a career high 143 yards rushing on 20 carries. Quarterback Ken Barrett started his first game after the 3-game bench and plunged for a 1-yard score in the fourth quarter after Chrissy took a screen pass 19 yards to Penn 1-yard line.
No two ways about
Other scores around the
it. Up to about 40.
country. Villanova over Boston College 20-16. Yale over Cornell 42-14. Rutgers over UMass 21-11. Here, Brown nipping out. Harvard 31-30. Dartmouth 37. Columbia 7. Bucknell 34. Northeastern 9. BU 15. Holy Cross 7. URI 19. UNH 14. Delaware 48. Maine nothing. Notre Dame over Navy 27-7. Michigan blanking Iowa 34-0. LSU over Mississippi 38. Clemson clobbering Wake Forest 51-6. Georgia over VMI 41-3. Alabama over Mississippi State 35-14. UCLA over Oregon
Saturday here in southern New England.
23-21. Southern Cal 13. Stanford 7. It was Oklahoma 28. Colorado 7.
No longer about Saturday night, or especially on Sunday.
Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers will be in Boston tonight, taking on the Boston Bruins. Here, Philadelphia, have you heard the latest joke? Every time the Philadelphia Eagles coach Dick Vermeil looked for his depth chart this week, he found a get-well card from Bart Starr. Obviously, Starr was too busy closing practices and locker room doors and reporters' face this week to pull such a stunt. Vermeil's depth in the backfield, however, is about as thin as the paper is tapped on. The starting fullback, Mike Fogan, and got a pulled groin, will not play. The starting halfback, Wilbur Montgomery, sprained ankle and knee, will not start and probably won't play. The backup fullback, Cleveland Frank, will play, but pain from a pinched nerve in his shoulder. The backup halfback, Blake Caffey may not, or may play, and if he does start, he may not be there as long as the pain from his hip point continues to bother him. That's just for starters. The game plan has been a day-to-day wondering thing, and Vermeil said will face start in his National Football Conference Central Division leader Green Bay Packers, who are 7-3 at fair same Sunday beginning at 1 p.m. South. Therefore, in the game you can see right here in Channel 10 tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon also on WIP 610 radio. How do you work with a game plan? What do you have to emphasize? When you don't have a healthy backfield, the defense always has a burden, but with this game, with a running game hampered downfield, there will be that have to do better than they normally do. If Campbell gets hurt, I have other alternatives. I can go to single back attack. I don't want to play that way, but I have to, I will. So one back attack, Vermeil feels about it. This way of a vegetarian feels about a big back attack. Charlie Smith will join Kenny Payne and Harold Carmichael in this 3 wide receiver, 1 back attack. But what happens to the math lesson if the one back is subtracted with an injury? After all 4 Eagle running backs went down in just last week.
And that would be more a possibility.
The team's biggest strength is
20-16 loss to St. Louis. The best Franklin to knock out adversely the Philadelphia since Ben is not sure when it will be less the game. It would have taken much to chase it, said Cleveland Franklin, who got a pinched nerve. The designated one back should be paralyzed for a few minutes. Are we ready to play? That see if both Kempfield and Franklin go down. Vermeil can pretend that it's a family reunion and that of its nephew, little Louis Q.
Center 5.
Louis Gimmons.
Stars are in town to play the Bruins tomorrow night.
A little Louis Guillermo to pass the bottom. He can ask his quarterback Ron Drosky to pass the football to little Louis. Little Louis has been a legend nation rushing at Utah State and played for New York Jets 2 years ago and sat out last year in injury reserve. Signed with the Eagles this week along with former San Diego Chargers and St. Louis Cardinal running back Larry Burns. No, nobody is about me. Vermeil is being my tackle. Said little Louis was saying made about 5'9", 108 pounds, but he looks even small. I can't worry about that. I'm taking a crash course here. I'm going to hit the books. There's no way I would know truth to rumor. Vermeil's grandmother is waiting for the by the phone. Where do you stood up as things get for us? Things get going to get much worse. The Packers back on the Eagles don't have any backs. Yet in the midst of all this in certainly John Wesky was running on me as not one for the conservative approach to push.
Go to the White House in April, and today
Rifle has had his arm cocked behind the pulse, because that way might be looking to keep us an enemy's stomach. I think I might be fine. There are 3 or 4 different plans of attack. Anything can happen. We've used the 3 wide receiver approach in the past, and it's getting up to big plays. To touch Manson and Harold Carmichael New Orleans, we've never used it as an entire offense. That approach wouldn't probably favor us, since I think we're working on it anymore. I think it's wide open now. It's felt. And Drosky flexed it on that, perform under pressure better. I want to be the guy on the foul line with no time left. The guy batting his base loaded in the north. They maybe end up in the guy passing the backfield load with the Green Bay players and no one out. But to get the ball, the Packers 3 sacks, which is banned.
the message that he's sending directly to her. The first Diane Sawyer in World
Good evening, and thanks. We're all talking about
Philadelphia Eagles coach Dick Vermeil gave his nephew Louis GMO an early Christmas present and an all-expense paid vacation to either Philadelphia, New York, St. Louis, and Minnesota. Only Javno, who led the nation in rushing that Utah State, used to work with a running back and a special team. I usually see him once a year. Family reunion, said Louis about Uncle Dick Vermeil, who are preparing to face the Green Bay Packers Sunday beginning at 1 p.m. before a sellout crowd, and see it on Channel 10 at WIP 610 radio. He's seen a lot of now, but what we call him Uncle Coach, who's invincible last name, does part star thinks he's kidding. He asked reporters in Illinois, Dwayne Thompson, why they wouldn't begin slamming the locker room doors in their faces. Thompson is in Illinois and saw he was only allowed. Tears for Saloons one day, besides calling reporters every name in the book. Stars now playing hard to get, but lost the National Football League main given anyway. They investigated the Thomas Affair, and the Packers may get 2 for 2 in the lost draft picks. Eagles Dennis Bigfoot Harrison, 6'8", 270 pounds of him, who probably could have saved most of the trouble of calling upon the Lord to put the rest. He made himself even more conspicuous on Bourbon Street. When the Eagles played the New Orleans Saints earlier this year, Harrison swore down his shirt, wearing a blinding yellow shirt he was. Heading in the Jones direction in a place called the Gunga Dan, surprising the people tap dancers swerving in the streets and Rick seemed known as him anyway.
City of Boston and every neighborhood in the city.
Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Redford baseman Pete Rose, and Los Angeles, Joseph Andrew, Tommy John listed the 7 players selected in Philadelphia. Phillies in the Major League Baseball's 3rd re-entry draft. The 37-year-old Rose will tie the National League.
They want jobs.
Recommend hitting in 44 straight games the last season, who was stung by Phil's Friday. In the first round, they took John 35 in the second round. In 16 rounds, the Phils took utility in Philadelphia's Lee Lacey of Los Angeles, Darryl Thomas of San Diego, Left-handed reliever Dave Hamilton of Pittsburgh and left-handed hitter and outfielder Bernie Carbo, Cleveland and Dylan from Montreal. Infielder Bud Ellerson, the only Philwood participation in the draft and was selected by only one team, the Dodgers. We will still might sign Bud. General Manager Paul Lowen said before heading in the New York for the draft, he just decided he wanted more than a year, 1 year contract. We don't feel like we can tie ourselves down to long-term contracts for our reserves. I like a lot of them, but might have wanted to find out what these were. Rose was drafted by 12 teams, one and under the maximum, and after the draft, Ruben Cost. Rose's representative was
including a free review.
engaged in the conversation with Owens. I am very hopeful that a sign in Rose said Owens. Very close when some of our players wants to. Yeah, contender he might be the extra dimension that would put us over the top. He had a money knowledge. Rose and John can certainly help us, and we can certainly take them maybe we can. Owens explained it would be depend on what.
Every month. Enroll free today.
They wanted whoever they would break down the salary structure of the club. Rose, a parallel 300 hitter, reportedly wants to this area about $500,000 a year for 3 years. John's Mans, maybe comparable what some of the pitchers below veteran Steve Cotton again in the draft and events are former Phillies and Covenant owner. Are the ones that attempt to fill a hole in the left-handed pitcher and ranked left by the trade of Jay Johnston to the New York Yankees last June.
And he became our champion. That's why every major newspaper endorses John Cotton.
Lacey said Thomas would replace Harrelson Alvo much. Neither has played much shortstop concentrating, mainly in the third base. Tonight, the Flyers be in Boston taking on the Bruins, and that's sports, and that's coming for the TV-10 news at 6 p.m. morning this November 4th, 1970, and on Saturday, I'm Terry Wiggins alongside Peter Wiggins and Jim Kelson. Have a good evening. Come back to be the CBS Evening News. Rod Schiffer will be back for the TV-10 news at 11 o'clock. Have a good evening. We'll see you at 11. Bye-bye for now. We're
2014 Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic.